Hi, my name's Heather and I'm a 30-year-old woman. About a year ago, I realized just how toxic the relationship that I was in was. Thankfully, I had the best sister-in-law in the world to help me navigate that and help me get out of it. Not only did I manage to get out of that relationship, but I also managed to get some well-deserved revenge on my ex-husband. Let me tell you a little about my relationship with Colin. Colin and I met when we were in college. We were seniors at that time and we had a common elective. We got along well, so we went on a few dates before we decided to make our relationship official. Colin was pretty much the best thing that happened to me then. I was struggling a lot with the fact that I was so far away from home, and even though it had been years since I moved to college, I hadn't had any real friends to make me feel better about the move. Being with Colin made me feel better about being so far away from home, and I guess I just got used to that feeling. I never wanted to go back to feeling alone, so even when things between us got bad, I continued to stay with him. When I say things changed between us, I mean that Colin began to get really controlling. He began monitoring everything I did and everywhere I went. If I ever thought that I'd end up making a few friends after I graduated from university, I was severely wrong. If I wanted to interact with someone, Colin had to meet them and approve of them. I could barely even interact with my colleagues at work, because Colin did not approve of them. And if he found out that I was talking to them, he'd get mad at me and get really verbally abusive. Eventually, I had to give up working. I became a stay-at-home wife. I was even more miserable than I was before. If I didn't do what Colin wanted me to do, I'd have to hear a lot of yelling from Colin. At some point, I practically became Colin's maid instead of his wife. He'd barely spoken to me, and when he did, it was either to give me more orders or to yell at me, neither of which I wanted. I still bore with it, because as the days went by, my savings depleted and I was becoming increasingly dependent on Colin. I had no way to leave and no one to lean on. Even when it came to our marriage, Colin was adamant about having a courthouse marriage instead of the big dream wedding that I had in mind. The only person I could talk to was my mom over the phone. One particular day, I was scrolling through my reels when I happened to come across this video of a woman sharing how she managed to get out of an abusive relationship. That got me thinking about my younger sister, who had also only just managed to get out of an abusive relationship. It had been really difficult for her. And I realized then that I wanted to be able to help those that were in her position. So when I got on a call with my mother later on, I told her about the idea I had to run a non-profit organization that would help victims of abuse get out of their abusive relationships. And my mom was overjoyed with the idea. She proposed investing in my business and even told me that she had friends who would love to invest in that. I remember feeling like I was on cloud nine all day, although I knew that I shouldn't have been so happy considering I hadn't run that idea by Colin. However, it turned out that Colin had overheard my conversation with my mom, and the next day he brought it up with me. So, you're thinking of starting a business, huh? What? How do you know? Because I overheard you talking to your mother the other day. What is this business you want to get into? I was watching my reels the other day, and there was this lady who was sharing how she struggled to get out of a very abusive relationship, and that got me thinking about my past relationships. You know how my sister had also been in an abusive relationship. I literally do not care about that. Could you just skip to what the business you want to start is about? That's what I'm trying to tell you, though. I wanted to start a business that would help victims of abuse to get out of their situations. So what? You're going to have them pay you? What? No, if they had the means to get out of those relationships, they definitely would have. I want to provide them with services for free. It'll be a non-profit organization of sorts. Huh. Then what's the point of the business if you're not going to earn anything from it? The point? Are you not listening to me? The point is to help those in need. I want to be able to do good for others. And who's going to help you start the business? My mom said that she would help, along with some of her friends who would love to invest in my business. So you thought you could just start this racket without me? It was not an entirely concrete idea yet. I want a part in this business. What? Why? Why not? Sure, I'll earn nothing from it, but at least I'll grow a good reputation through it. I mean, I have a good enough reputation now, but this will boost it up really nicely. I don't think it'll be right for you to join. Oh, why? Do you think that I'm not capable of running a business? No. Oh, so then you think I'm abusive? Is that it? Do you think that? God, no. I just don't think you should join something this serious because you want a better reputation or for fame. This is serious work, and you'll be dealing with things that will emotionally and psychologically drain you. That's just a roundabout way of saying that you think I'm a weak jerk. That was not it. I don't want to hear any more of your nonsense. I'm joining this business with you. Consider it your apology for not letting me know about this idea beforehand. And don't even try to get smart with me about it. If you want your business to prosper, you know I have all the right contacts for it. If you try to screw me over, I will make sure that your business will fail and that your name will be tarnished. So am I going to be a part of the business with you? Yeah, of course. I cannot even begin to tell you how upset I was with Colin for involving himself in my plan. I knew that having Colin involved would mean that my idea would definitely take off, but it would come at the steep price of not having any form of independence at all. I didn't want that, but I couldn't give up on the idea of being able to help those in need. Over the next few months, Colin and I began developing a solid plan to start our business. Colin came from an affluent family, so that meant that he had a lot of connections within the city. We managed to get our business up and running pretty quickly. My mom and her friends did as they promised and invested quite a bit in the business. And before I knew it, the company began to grow rapidly. Nothing brought me greater joy than being able to help so many people in need. As the company grew, we began to employ more people, which meant that Colin and I weren't handling everyone that came to us. I began to notice how a lot of people who worked with Colin began to shy away from our services, so I'd always swoop in and regain their trust. I tried to talk to Colin about it, but he would never want to listen to me. Eventually, I ended up picking up after Colin's work while juggling my own. Of course, I had no problem with that, because all I cared about was helping those in need. But I made sure to keep records of everything I was doing. Even though we were working really hard at the company, we were not earning any money out of it. That meant that Colin still worked his regular 9-to-5 job, although being a part of the company earned him a lot more credit in his company, and he was given a raise which allowed him to work fewer hours so he could focus on helping various victims through our company. Even so, Colin would come home exhausted every day. One particular day, I had a tough day at work, and I was in no mood to cook a meal for the both of us. When Colin got back home, he was not happy about it. I'm back home. How was work? Don't even ask. Is dinner ready? No. I got back home only half an hour ago. Today was so exhausting, and I don't think I can cook. So you just didn't cook dinner? Yeah, I figured we could order takeout and just relax a little while. You made that decision all by yourself? Do you not care about my opinions? Did you not think that all I wanted was to come back home to a fresh, hot meal instead of some fried garbage from outside? Why are you pulling on my hair? Stop. It was just today. I will not let you disrespect me like this. Who told you that you could decide what I wanted to eat? Your job as my wife is to cook all my meals for me. Why would I have married an ugly, disgusting woman otherwise? Let go of me. If you don't, I'll tell everyone what you're like. And with the field you're working in with me, you'll get torn to shreds. Oh, is that the game you want to play? Why do you think I'm so comfortable treating you the way you deserve to be treated? Because I know that nobody can touch me. Oh, please. One word from me and one word from you. Ha, please. Do you know how long I've pretended to be a feminist and a woke guy? Everyone adores me because of it. I'm the reason your stupid business is thriving. If you even try to tell everyone about this, I'll be sure to twist everything you've said to make it seem like you're some crazy, jealous, psychopathic person. Don't even try to test me. Why did you even choose to work with victims of abuse? Do you not care about how you treat me when you've seen firsthand what it does to people? All of those people probably deserved it anyway. This is just some scheme for me to build a better reputation. So you should learn how to stay in your lane. I'm going to go over to my mom's place where she'll have some actual food for me. I'm letting you off easy this time, but if you try to pull this on me next time, I'll make sure to throw you out of the house. I remember feeling this deep sense of disgust when I heard what Colin had to say about his views on those who came to us for help. I remember wanting to do nothing but ruin Colin's life, but I had no power to do it. Every day I lived in fear that Colin would try to throw me off the company, even though I knew that there was no legal way for him to do it. Even if I wanted to expose him, I was scared that I would have nowhere to go if he actually acted on his words. So I kept my mouth shut and let him carry on. As time passed, Colin's fame only grew. Everyone in our city knew him, and those who already knew him only seemed to love him more. I felt bitter that only I knew his true image and that I could not bring myself to admire him. His mother especially was the most proud of Colin. We would go over to her place once a month for dinner. One time during the middle of winter, she had called us over to her place for dinner. It was snowing and the weather app said that it was going to storm harder. So while we were driving over to my mother-in-law's place, I cautiously told Colin to hurry up a little. I hate to be like this, but you're going to have to speed up a little or we're going to get caught up in the snowstorm. Oh, do you ever just shut up? There's no need for you to be so rude. I was trying to make sure we got to your mom safely. Do you honestly think I'm stupid? What? What does that have to do with anything? It has everything to do with this. You always tell me things that are so blatantly obvious, like you think I have no idea what I'm doing, so you feel the need to point it out to me. Well, I'm sorry I came across that way, but I literally told you to speed up in the gentlest way possible. I didn't mean to offend you. I just happened to look at my phone and the weather app said that it would start storming harder in half an hour. Do you think I can't see that? Okay, I'm sorry. No. No? Why are you pulling over? Because you need to learn a lesson. Huh? What are you talking about? I'm tired of you thinking that you're better than me. I have never once tried to make you feel that way. I've made sure to be as passive as possible, so I know for a fact that I haven't been doing that. Do you expect me to just never speak? Is that the only way you'll think that I'm not insulting your intelligence? Who do you think you're speaking to? You know very well that you're not allowed to speak to me this way. Why do I have to be careful with the way I speak to you? I'm just really frustrated, Colin. Why do you always take everything I say as an insult to you or your personality? I've had more than enough of you. You need to get out of the car. What? It's literally storming outside. There's no way I'm getting out of this car. You're upset, and so am I. Just drive carefully, and we can figure this out at your mom's place. I am not taking an ungrateful, rude brat to my mother's house. You need to learn a good lesson so you can be put in your place. And this is me teaching you that. You think my lesson is to freeze in the snow? Absolutely. Get out of my car. No way. I'm sitting here. You can either drive or we'll just sit here on the side of the road until the storm blows over. I'm not letting that happen. Why are you getting out of the car? Come back. Colin trudged over to my side, threw my door open, grabbed my arm and yanked me out of the car. I was shocked, and before I could even react, he got back in the car and drove off. Once I recovered from the shock, I realized that I had my phone on me, so I could try to contact him. However, my phone was dead. I was in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of a storm, with no help for miles. All the dread and anxiety I felt slowly settled into acceptance of my fate. I made myself comfortable by the side of the highway and waited to see how long I would last there. I stared at nothing for almost an hour before someone walked up to me. Excuse me, are you all right? Not really. Heather? Daniela? What are you doing here? It's snowing like crazy. Why are you out in the middle of nowhere? Where's Colin? There's a funny story regarding that. Where is Colin? Tell me that first. He's at your mom's place, I'm guessing. So why are you here? Well, he left me here. What? What do you mean? We got into a pointless argument in the car. Colin got mad and decided he needed to teach me a lesson to put me in my place. What? What are you saying? Isn't Colin really passionate about treating women equally and with respect? That apparently applies to every woman but his own wife. Wait, so this has been going on for a while. I am so sorry. I sound a little stupid right now, but this is a little mind-blowing to me. No, I get it. I see what he does on a daily basis at work, so even I would be shocked to hear that this was his real side. But yes, he's been this way since the start, really. Then why would he want to co-own the business you two have? I mean, you only started the business because you were passionate about helping women and other victims of abuse. If Colin was abusive himself, why would he want to be a part of something that's directly opposite to his values and personality? He wanted the fame and respect. Yeah, that's really embarrassing to admit out loud, but that's the truth. My God, he's disgusting. I'm not trying to victim blame or anything, but why did you never say anything about it? I would have supported you in a heartbeat, and I'm sure Mom and Dad would have too. I don't know. I would threaten Colin by telling him that I would expose him, but he would laugh in my face and tell me that he spent his entire life rebuilding a reputation around being for women, so no one would believe my claims. He told me that if I ever did something like that, he would twist my words and tell everyone that I was a jealous psychopath. And since he had a better reputation, everyone would believe him. I guess I was just too scared. My God, that's so ironic considering this is exactly what I help people with. Hey, don't be so hard on yourself. If all the heroes are busy saving everyone, who's saving the heroes? I'm hardly a hero. You're definitely a hero to the thousands of lives you've saved through your work. It's only a pity that Colin happened to be a part of it. But you have nothing to worry about. I'm going to help you get away from him without losing anything. What do you mean? What I'm saying is that we're going to teach Colin a lesson in respect. And we're going to put him in his place for being an abusive jerk. We're going to tell everyone about his true colors and let them deal with him. So you have your hands clean and you'll also have your business. I don't know. Look, I know this is hard for you to digest because Colin is your business partner and your husband, but he's also my brother. Other than being his sister, I'm also a woman, and you can't even begin to imagine the mix of emotions I'm feeling about things Colin has done to you. But mostly I feel angry, like pure unbridled rage. I want nothing but justice for you, so please let me help you out. I really appreciate your help, Daniela, but I have no idea what to do or where to begin. Don't worry about that. I'll take care of it. For now, let's get you to the hospital to make sure you didn't catch anything or get hurt. And then we'll go back to my place. But your mom's dinner. Don't worry. I'll tell her I have some emergency meeting, so I can't make it. Come on, let's get going. I remember feeling pretty disoriented partway through the conversation, so I was more than glad to follow Daniela back into her car, where she gradually turned the heat up to help me feel better. We got to the hospital pretty quickly, but other than a tinge of hypothermia, which was easily fixed with a little heat, I was completely okay. After that, Daniela took me back to her place where she had me produce file after file of my work in the company. She asked me if I had any proof of Colin's abuse, and since there are security cameras all over the company, I had tons of evidence. Daniela told me that she had a friend who was desperate for a big cover story at the journalist firm he was working at, so she would give him the information on Colin. I was very nervous about what would happen to Colin, but at the same time, I couldn't help but feel excited to see how he would react. While I waited for Colin to figure out what happened, Daniela offered me her place to stay until I found a place of my own to live. I didn't have to wait long for Colin to find out what happened because he called me the very next day. Turns out the news made big headlines. Colin had been a beloved figure in the city, so the claim, along with the proof of his behavior, was enough to ruin Colin's reputation. When I picked up Colin's call, he immediately started the conversation off with yelling. "What did you do?" "Hello, Colin. I'm doing pretty good. What about you?" "I don't have time for your stupid sarcasm, Heather. Did you feed the press a bunch of lies about me?" "I have no idea what you're talking about." "Don't even try to play with me. You're the only one who knew that I had said all those things." "So, everything the news is covering isn't lies?" "Don't be a smart aleck with me right now. Why would you do something so horrifying to me?" "You've been horrible to me for the entirety of our marriage. You joined my company because you wanted to profit off of it. I feel like you've done way more horrifying things than this." "Profit? Oh, please, that business wasn't bringing in any money." "Yes, that was the point. But you didn't join for the money. You joined to get recognized and gain the respect of everyone in our city. Even though you saw all the horrifying things that people have gone through at the hands of their abusers, you still treated me like I was a piece of trash. Did it never occur to you that fame is a double-edged sword? So you think just because I have some fame now, you can throw around some baseless accusations against me to bring me down? Do you even know how hard I worked to build up the reputation I have? I can sue you for defamation." "Wait, do you even know what the word defamation means?" "You don't have to dumb things down for me. And I did not do anything against you, Colin. Everything being said in the news is not baseless. If you, maybe, paid a little more attention to what they were showing on the TV, you'd see text screenshots and audio recordings of all the nasty, degrading things you've said to me. That reputation you worked so hard to build is non-existent now. You can try to sue me, but you have to prove that I approached the press with the claims against you. And even if you do, you have to prove that the evidence against you is also false." "You think I can't do that? I'll hire the best lawyers in all America if I have to." "Oh, you could definitely do that, but in that time, I'll have divorced you. You have been kicked off the company and your reputation will be so tarnished that it'll be a while before you'll be able to bounce back to where you are now." "You stupid pig. You did all of this just because I threw you out of my car yesterday." "No, I was just trying to teach you a lesson so I could put you in your place. All the best with the future, Colin. This conversation is not over. Bye, Colin. Cutting the call on Colin never felt so good as it did that day. Colin tried to call me back over and over again after that, but I refused to answer his calls. Instead, I just watched as the media tore him apart. Suddenly, more people began coming forward and telling their stories of their questionable experiences with Colin. Apparently, he'd been very rash and rude with a lot of people who had come to us for help. And the only reason they accepted our help was because I was there to sort things out, and I treated them right. Colin's reputation in our city went downhill really fast after that. Everybody knew of him and his deeds. He got what he wanted the most, fame and attention, but all for the wrong reasons. The board of directors at my company decided we needed to let Colin go, and Colin's other company ended up letting him go as well. Given his new reputation, he was definitely not going to be able to get a job in our city anytime soon. Colin was obviously very, very angry about everything that happened, but I blocked him, so I didn't have to know anything about his anger. I continued to stay with Daniela, who helped me find a good lawyer to file my divorce with. Colin eventually figured out that Daniela had been helping me, and he raced over to her place to give her a piece of his mind. He found me there, but thankfully Daniela quickly shut the door on him before he could set foot in the house. The look in his eyes was genuinely terrifying, so I'm glad that Daniela acted quickly. However, just because Daniela stopped him that day, it didn't mean that Colin was going to leave me alone in general. Colin tried his best to get in contact with me every single day. Every time he saw me, he would run over to me and get in my face before yelling all sorts of profanities in my face and telling me how I had ruined his life. It got to a point where I couldn't leave my house without worrying for my safety. After a lot of consideration and deliberation, my lawyer and I filed for a restraining order during the course of the divorce. Thankfully, that stopped Colin from harassing me constantly. The divorce was difficult, to say the least. Colin tried to sue me for defamation, but like I said, I had no contact with the media, and I did nothing to sabotage his reputation. Once Colin realized that the defamation case was going nowhere, he decided to fight every single thing in the divorce, down to who got ownership of our toothpicks and chopsticks. I made sure I got what I needed and what was rightfully mine, but for the rest, I just let him take it. Aside from that, Colin quickly became an outcast in his own family. Nobody wanted to be associated with him. The very people who loved him and were proud to be related to him abandoned him. They all felt cheated that he was so capable of being so horrible to his own wife. They reached out to me and apologized profusely for not seeing any warning signs. And although I never thought it was their fault, I did feel grateful that they had it in their hearts to reach out to me. Colin ended up struggling a lot after the divorce. He blew almost all of the money he had on hiring the best lawyer he could for the divorce. His family refused to help him out, and he struggled to find a place to keep all the things he desperately fought for in court. We pretty much broke our apartment's lease as soon as the divorce was filed, so Colin had no place to stay for a long while. Daniela and I have become nothing short of best friends. I found a good paying job and moved out of Daniela's place after staying with her for 2 months out of sheer fear that Colin might do something to me. But the divorce was finalized 2 weeks ago, so Daniela and I had gone out to celebrate. We meet up quite frequently, and I'm glad that Colin's actions did not ruin my relationship with her. I managed to also get a permanent restraining order against Colin, so I sleep a lot better at night now. Things are finally looking up for me, and I'm so excited to see where life is going to take me from here on out. Thank you for listening to my story.